queen mother, as it were.
And all the while, there's Todd Peterson in the background. I remember he's like, I can't believe what's going on. You did this. This is all you.
Yeah, well.
I know. What's up, guys? How you doing? All right. Well, yeah, new week. I get this one, but I'll take any questions if you guys have any, which you always do.
Of course we do.
Yeah.
After looking at the film, how would you break down that last drive and last few plays of the game, how it ended?
Well, I think, there's a lot of things you could evaluate, and probably could have done things differently, but probably the more focus I had was that it shouldn't have come down to the last play or the last drive even. We shouldn't have put ourselves in that position, and I think probably say, well, Zach could have had time for 2 plays in that last series, but we wouldn't have been down there if it weren't for him either. You know what I mean? We wouldn't have been in that position if he wasn't the guy to make the plays that he made. And yeah, I thought there was enough mistakes to go around for a lot of people to take blame for the loss, including myself. And so that's my job as a head coach, to make sure that we're in a better position to have success. I thought in comparison to last week, we made a huge improvement as far as gaining yards and getting the ball in the red zone. Now we just didn't finish the plays. We didn't finish the drives. We need to have more efficiency and more success in the red zone. And, just way too many issues and way too many mistakes to overcome against a good team like Boise. And credit to them, they made one play more than we did. And but I think a lot of focus comes back to that last drive. And I'd probably go more into the other 58 minutes before that. And so but I'll evaluate everything with decisions I made as a head coach on timeouts, usage, and when's the right time to do it. And I'm sure the offensive coaches talking about the type of play calls they made in the red zone, especially on that last drive. And we're going to make improvements. But really excited about our players, the effort and the belief that they have in the team and the scheme and the things that we're doing. And just need to finish drives and finish the game. And there's room for improvement in all 3 phases.
Is there an overemphasis on running the ball once you get inside about the 10? It seemed like you'd move the ball down the field with the pass, and then all of a sudden you'd run 2 straight times and gain 3 yards and force a third and long or whatever. It just seemed like it kind of switched a little bit when you got down there.
Yeah, I think we have to evaluate all of it. I think we've done well in the red zone in the pretty most of the season, pretty much. But the last 2 weeks haven't been good for us, and so that needs to improve. I don't like kicking field goals, but I have a lot of confidence that our kicker will make them. He was 3 or 4, and he's a young freshman. He's going to make a lot of field goals for us, but I like him kicking PATs better. So really want to score touchdowns in the red zone, and that means a shift in what we do as an offense, especially in that area. It's a condensed field now, so the emphasis has got to be on what we're good at and the efficiency that we can get our best performance so we can get in the end zone. That's going to be the key.
How much has the offense changed schematically with Wilson in, and what difficulties for the offensive line can that present?
Well, we've done a lot of things as a team since spring, since Grimes and staff got here. Really doing a lot of things to laying the foundation, built on the run plays that can be done in the gun and also under center. So the scheme really itself isn't that far from what we already have. It's more of the focus being more patterned around Zach's strengths, and so that's where we shifted a little bit more. And he's a different player than Tanner, and so we need to do whatever we can to make it comfortable for him. And that means a little bit of change in certain ways that we do things. But yeah, this thing's going to be built around his skills and around Jaron Hall and their skill.
You talked about evaluating timeouts.
Mm-hmm.
Last time, would you, looking back, called it earlier? Or?
Well, looking at the setup and the timing, I didn't think it was going to take that long to get the play off. So that if I was calling the play, yeah, I probably would have called it then. But that's where. I don't know. I just wanted to score. I didn't care how much time was on the clock. I would have been happy with scoring on Hadley's screen. That would have gone in the end zone. I'd like to play defense in a 2-minute situation, and stop them from getting into the scoring into the end zone. So.
How active are you in pursuing a junior college running back with Matt leaving, Squall leaving?
Yeah, that's all. That's part of it. I mean, you have to work admissions through that as well, and so we're actively pursuing the best players we can get, and I think we have a good core of guys right now, but we're always, if we can get a great one, then more than welcome to get here if they have good grades and can get in school.
Since you brought that up, do you have free reign to go after junior college guys from BYU admissions?
Junior college is not out of the question. It's just, but there are standards that come through with academics. So yeah, we can, but not all of them are available to come to school here.
You've been here 3 years. How have the admissions standards changed, or have they stayed relatively the same in your tenure?
Well, they've always been high, but it's yeah. Without getting into too much detail, we just have to have the guys that can get into school, and that's not anything I'm going to complain about. We just got to keep working, you know. So.
Liza kind of mentioned that Wilcox is not looking good.
Yeah, he's out for the season, and if it's not a surgery required injury, but he'll be out, you know, even for a bowl game with the timing that it will take for it to heal.
How does that hurt the defense?
Well, he's a starter for us, so yeah, that affects us. But we have a lot of young guys that need to step up, and this is an opportunity for you know, for those young freshman corners to step up and play, and we'll see. We'll just have to probably bring. We're planning on redshirting Isaiah Herron, but we'll probably have to play him and get Jalen Vickers ready to go too. So.
What is the injury?
It's well, I'm not going to tell you. It's not going to specifics.
Maybe we could get it out of you.
Yeah, it's just because I don't know. I don't know the exact term. I didn't go to medical school. I think we covered this some time ago. So yeah, it's a lower leg injury that's like a fracture or something like that. But dang you, Jay. Now I have to get like the whole specific breakdown. Yeah. Are you going to medical school sometime soon? Yeah, you should with all your interest in injuries. No, it's a so like no, it's a injury that doesn't require surgery. So like whether it's a fracture or whatever the term you give it, it's unfortunate. It was just a play that I wish it didn't happen because he's playing so well right now.
What are some of the challenges with just the travel and the early game that comes up this week?
Well, we're going to go a day early to get adjusted to the clock, but really it's only the only issues that happen is what you give credit to. So I don't think we're going to have any problems. We're going to practice on Thursday morning and travel there a day early, get used to the clock, and get up. I mean, our guys, if you're looking at it, I think the game's at 10 a.m. here, so that's nice. And our guys will be able to get up and get pregame meal ready to go, eat breakfast, and go play game. So, you know, it'd be a lot of fun. Looking forward to see our East Coast fans out there.
Is there a revenge factor after they came here last year with you guys?
I don't know. I mean, our guys have the memory of last year's game, so I think more than anything, we're just really hungry to get a win, you know, and especially after the last 2 weeks, and so our guys, I mean, they're really disappointed about the game, but I love their attitude towards overcoming it and the challenges coming up, and our guys are really believing in each other, and they're starting to gain momentum. So we just need to go in this game ready to go and not, you know, we just need to minimize the mistakes. And if we have that type of effort from our players and the belief that they've given us, then it's up to us coaches to get them in the right position to have success and to win this game.
UMass is a similar set to Hawaii. Score a lot of points, also give up a lot of points. What do you expect?
I expect to score points and stop them from scoring a lot of points. So that's what I expect every week. But you know, I'm hoping that our guys can do it. I think we have, from what we've seen all year, I think we have capable guys that will be able to do it on defense. And I know Coach Whipple's a really good coach, and he's smart. And they can find ways to try to switch the game around like they did last year and made it kind of a low-scoring game. So we have to be ready for all of it. But offensively, our guys need to be clicking and just finish drives when we get in the red zone, score touchdowns, and not kick a lot of field goals. And I think we'll be okay.
Jeff Grimes moved up to the booth for this last game. Was that your decision, his decision, combination? How did that kind of come
No,
about?
that was his decision. I think offensively they were looking trying to get things a different perspective for him. And he's a guy that's never really been in the box before as a coach, and I think that gives him a different view for all of it. And you know, they're up there, they're not hurting by the elements, or they're sitting down, and he has his whole call sheet in front of him. And so, yeah, I don't. That's up to them on what he wants to do. But I thought it worked out really well.
Was there an impact as far as the relay to get stuff to the guys in that sense? Or?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I mean, I don't know if it was any cleaner or anything like that. I just thought it was good for him to have that option, you know, and then he'll make the decision on where he feels more comfortable calling the plays, and I'm good with it either way.
The offensive line had such a great start in
Mm-hmm.
the first few games. Looks from the naked eye that they've regressed. What's going on?
Probably a lot of mistakes and missed assignments. It's you know, we looked at the sacks given up and the negative plays, and most of it are mistakes. And so not really talent issue or lack of physical play. It's just mistakes. And so if we have to keep it more simple so that they can play fast, then that's what we need to do. Because we can't really move if these guys can't get it done, and if they're confused up front. So I'd probably look at that first before their ability more than anything.
Coach Tuiaki was talking about how, last week, and said it again today, that he doesn't like scheming guys as much as he wants guys just being able to go make plays. Is that a philosophy that you gained over your coaching career, or more of his philosophy, or just kind of how?
What do you mean by scheme, like quarterbacks
He
specifically?
was talking about Tuiaki was talking about defense,
Mhm.
and how he didn't necessarily feel like the right thing to do as a defensive coordinator is to try and orient a scheme to make sure the guys are able to make plays. He wants guys being able to make plays, is my kind of interpretation of what he said. I just wonder how that philosophy and your philosophy and.
Well, I mean, as a defensive coordinator, when I was a D coordinator, I think I was probably similar. But now as a head coach, I want him to be good at all of it. So I think that I think he's a bright coach, and I think looking at it fundamentally, our guys are playing better. We're tackling better than what we had against Utah State. So there's a lot of improvement in the fundamental part of the game. I think I talked about the O-line, keep it simple. I think defensively, if we focus on technique and fundamentals, that'll be good. But scheme is important. It's just not the overriding factor. You know what I mean? And if there's an opportunity for guys to scheme, but then a huge risk of mistakes, then it's not worth it on defense to get a free guy running down the field for an easy touchdown. And so as a former coordinator myself, I thought it was worth the risk at times. And so we'll kind of get a good balance of both.
Any other questions?
All right. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here's Austin Lee.
Hey guys.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
What's the mood of the team? A couple of straight tough losses where the defense played pretty well overall. Maybe not perfect, but pretty well. It's kind of good. What are you seeing?
I think it's frustrating, obviously, losing back-to-back games, but there's a good sense of belief still on the team. There's a good sense of having each other's backs. No one's blaming or pointing fingers at one person or one unit. I feel like we've all could have stepped up in different ways. It's three phases of the game. There's special teams, there's offense, there's defense, and I feel like the losses have been frustrating, but we've got each other's back. We have the belief there. It's all about just starting fast now and just trying to prepare and bounce back and get a win against UMass this week. So
Corbin said after the game that you guys got down 14-0. You're in a bad spot after that fumble and the kickoff. He said everybody kind of looked inside them and found something extra, or basically kind of pushed themselves to be better. What did you see that really were? I mean, you guys gave up only 7 points the rest of the game.
yeah, I mean that was probably the biggest thing that I felt. Exactly what he said is we come down 14-0, and our first thought when we went back on the field, and I think they had good field position at the time, and our first thought was we are not getting blown out. We are going to make a stand, and we're going to come together as a team, and I think we really dug deep for that. And we finished that half off, and we wanted to come out really strong that first drive. That's probably the most important drive is the second half when we come out on defense, and we gotta stick it to them. And I think we were able to do so that drive. Unfortunately, there was another long drive that ended up in a touchdown. And at the end of the day, defense has got to be better than their defense. And I felt like we did dig deep, but we got to dig a little bit deeper, obviously. So unfortunately, we kind of blew it at the end, but defense we were able to stick together, offense was able to stick together, and it's just coming together now.
The corners that are going to have to step up in Chris Wilcox's absence, kind of give us a little scouting report on them. I think Mandel and Keenan Ellis, Malik Moore,
Yeah.
Isaiah Heron. I guess there's
They all have experience. I mean, they're young. They've probably haven't had as much experience as like the upperclassmen. But as far as this season has gone, they've all had experience, and I've been really impressed with how they've played. D'Angelo Mandel, he's played really well when he came in. Keenan Ellis, same with Malik Moore at that nickel spot this last game. Isaiah Heron, I feel like they've played well when they've gotten their opportunity. Right now, we're just going to have to keep teaching them the technique, the fundamentals of the game, and be sure that they're in the right places at the right time. They have the confidence, they have the ability, and so it's just about performing and executing when they get their chance. So, unfortunately, we lost Chris, and we love him. He's a great athlete, but we got some guys that can come in and compete.
You guys have really done well defending the long pass. The team's getting it over the top. How much pride do you guys take in that, and how's that come about?
Big pride. I mean, we don't want any big plays happening, rushing or over the top passing. And the coaches have put us in the right spots. They've put us in the schemes that we needed to prevent that stuff. And I feel like a lot of it comes from guys just running to the ball and tackling. We see a few missed tackles every once in a while, but guys are just they have the intensity and the desire to not get beat and to just rally up. So we take a lot of pride in that, and it just comes from the character of the defense. So.
Do you feel like the secondary will have to make many changes because of some of the youth that will now be leaned on as far as the cornerbacks go, or is it just basically next man up? We'll do the same thing and trust those guys the same way?
I think it's next man up. I think we trust them. I've seen what they can do, and I've seen what they have done through camp and throughout the season. Right now, obviously, they're young. It's just being able to teach them the fundamentals of the game as far as, they know what technique they're doing. They know how to play, but a lot of it has to do with, what formation are you seeing? What's the down and distance? That they haven't seen that so much in college football, but they've had the experience, and it's fun being back there to be able to help those guys. Because I'm as a free safety, you can kind of see the whole picture. So whether it's Chris Wilcox or one of the younger ones, it's easier to just give them the help and the heads up from what you see in that perspective.
You're kind of quarterbacking, like you said, as a free safety. He hasn't dealt with so many injuries. Diane Gawolo, who got hurt at one point. You missed Northern Illinois, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. I did.
And then Chris, what does it speak to the depth to be able to just plug and play guys?
I think it speaks well. We have guys ready to step up. I think we've seen that through a lot of the games. Oscar Fence has had even a fumble recovery. We haven't even seen him as much, but when he came in, he wanted to compete. We have guys that are just ready to step up. Sawyer Powell. We've talked about all the corners. These are some of the safeties as well. But it speaks really highly of them, and it's fun to compete with them in practice because they're right behind us. At any moment they can be thrown in, and at any moment they can compete and do well. So.
It seems like a broken record asking you guys about facing a team that can score, and UMass is another team that can put up points. What have you seen from the Minutemen? How similar are they to the team that came in here last year? Got a different quarterback now, but what have you guys seen of them?
From what I've seen, I've seen a lot of points put up. I think they have a very good slot receiver. They have some good receivers in general, and they can air it out. They can run the ball. They can put up a lot of points, and so we're going to have to be really disciplined in how we do that. I think the biggest key for us is to start out fast. The last few weeks we haven't started as fast as we wanted to. I think that's the biggest thing is the games that we have won, we've started out really fast. And we just got to dig deep if things go wrong, but we got to come out gunning. And so that's probably going to be the biggest strength for us if we can come into this game, start out fast.
They've got an offensive rep. Is it similar in any way to Hawaii at all? Because they came in with a big-time offense as well, and you were able to shut that down.
Yeah, it's similar. I mean, I haven't watched a ton of film yet on them, but I've seen them put up a lot of points, and I've seen them have some, the reputation of an air raid offense as well. They can run the ball. They seem pretty balanced. They got some really good athletes, just as Hawaii did, and so we're going to have to be prepared, and we're going to have to be focused for the whole game.
You guys get really excited. You guys have done this the last couple of years, but going to the NFL stadiums and playing where the New England Patriots play, I mean, how much does that add to the atmosphere for you guys?
I was thinking about that today. It adds a lot. I mean, I haven't played in a handful of NFL stadiums, but there's a lot of history there, and there's a lot of greatness things that's happened there, and hopefully we can just continue to make more history and greatness on those fields. So I'm excited to play.
With Tanner being such a big Patriots fan, you guys gonna, if anything's in the works, try and get him to meet Tom Brady or anything like that?
I don't know. Maybe we'll try to find his number or something.
What role does scheme play in defense? Because talking to Coach Tuiaki, he says, my opinion is that I shouldn't have to scheme guys and guys need to go make plays. That's kind of his approach. How does that balance work between just running base and having guys make plays versus mixing up the schemes and trying to confuse the other team?
You're talking about scheme as putting guys in the right places,
Yeah,
or scheme?
He's just said that he doesn't feel like it should all be about scheme. Like he shouldn't have to scheme guys into being successful. He wants guys to be able to do it themselves in that sense. And I took that to mean, kind of the difference between doing base versus scheming every single play differently or whatever, kind of finding that balance between the two.
Yeah, I mean, I think every defense has its holes. But I think at the end of the day, we've got to be smart football players. We have the athletes to do so, and there's going to be holes, but we got to recognize that as a defense where those holes are at, and recognize the offensive set that we are going against and maybe what they're trying to do. So at the end of the day, I mean, it's not like huge. Like it is huge, obviously, but we as a defense have to understand what we are running and where the weaknesses are, so that we can, make sure that they aren't exposing those weaknesses, if that makes sense.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Here's Zach Dawn.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Talked to Oscar about this. I don't know if you heard us talking, but talked to Corbin as well. But that switch after the first quarter against Boise, you guys are down 14-0. You're in a bad situation, field position wise, and both guys said that was a time when you guys really kind of dug deep and found something else to go to. What did you see?
I saw the same thing, kind of what Austin said. That could have been a huge turning point in the game where, they go up, another 7 points, 21-0, or we fight like dogs and we have a chance to come back. And so on the sidelines, we were composed. We realized that just as much as the offense needs to make plays, the defense needs to make plays, and we knew that, and so we rallied together right there on the side and said, hey, we got to go. We got to get the ball back. It doesn't matter what's happened so far. We still have a long game to play, and we still have that opportunity to make plays and come back. So I think that was a big turning point from what I saw, just of more confidence just in the defense. So
These last couple of weeks, the offense hasn't been able to get in the end zone, 1 touchdown the last 2 games. Does that put more pressure on the defense in that sense, knowing, hey, we gotta keep the points down to give our offense a chance, just because they're kind of struggling a little bit?
I don't know if it puts a little bit more stress on the defense, but that's what we train to do. We're a defense, and so it doesn't matter where the ball is, if it's on the 1 yard line or on their 1 yard line, or how long we're on the field. We know exactly what we have to do, and so if the offense is scoring great, it's kind of a bummer because less play time for us, but but we're confident in the things that we can do as a defense. So if our offense is struggling through adversity, we're brothers and we know that we have to help each other. And they know the same way, we give up some plays at the very beginning, and they're right next to us saying, hey, you know what, we realize that there's mistakes going on. You know, we can't point any fingers across, you know, the team, but it's just like if they make a mistake, we have to be there, you know, to get their back. If we make a mistake, they have to go down and score. So that's the name of the game, is just to be able to help each other in the crazy situations that happen in football. So
This upcoming week, talk about the challenge you face going up against UMass.
I think UMass is a good team. They're not one that we can look over or brush off, but I'm extremely confident in, you know, our coaches being able to bounce back from, you know, last week and also the week before. We just got to catch some momentum. We're 1 or 2 plays from, you know, being exactly where we need to be. And going into this week, we just got to kind of reset back, regain our ground, and, you know, kind of like Rocky Balboa, we just got to get that eye of the tiger back. You know, he got knocked out by Clubber Lang. You know, he didn't quit. You know, he got back up, and from there on, he was a champion. You know, and we got to do the same thing. We got to sit back. We got to train. We got to find that eye of the tiger. And we have a fantastic team. You know, we have fantastic coaches, and we can't put it all on one person or on the offense or the defense. You know, going into this next week, we just got to ball out and make the plays that we can. You know, we've done it against Wisconsin. We've made big plays against Arizona. The great team that, you know, we thought at the beginning that we still have. You know, not a whole lot of people have gone down. So going into this week, you know, it's a fresh week. I'm going to, you know, strive to do my best to bring that hunger just to make plays and just to, you know, get a different attitude going. We still have plenty of time to come back and finish off a good, decent season. So that's what we're going to strive to do. So.
Where do you guys think, you play defensive tackle,
Yeah.
every rotation so
Yeah.
far this season. Where do you think you guys have made the biggest strides at this point of the year?
You know, our defensive line, we are very stout for the most part. You know, our defense, we know that if we can trust our scheme and make the plays and not make the little mistakes, we're strong on defense. Also, offense, we know that once we can get rolling, we've seen it, once we can get a little bit of confidence underneath our belt, we can score and we can make those big plays. And so I think the biggest part is we know that we can make the big plays. We know that we can make things happen. We just need to make more of them and make less of the mistakes. So focus more on the positives and really focus on the technique of not having the little holding calls or face masks or those little penalties that can cost you the game in the end. So.
Anything else? Zach?
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Zach. Excellent, clever line pull.
I know.
Very
I
impressed.
was like, you're
Very impressed.
so it's fresh in your, okay.
Rocky reset, outstanding.
That just gave me a bite for my
I love the Rock.
That was fantastic. We're gonna be paid. Paid. We predicted this one.
Braden now back,
Like, that movie's older than me. And
1983.
My favorite scene in Rocky IV is when he's giving the emotional talk to his son, and you literally can't understand a word he's saying. I could go there, I could go there. Rocky IV is the greatest 80s movie ever made. The bombast in that movie is tremendous.
It's not the greatest 80s. It is the greatest of the Rocky movies.
Oh, I think it's up there.
In fact, the Rocky movies go in reverse in terms of best, and I don't consider
He
5
ended
part of it.
freaking communism.
That's what I'm saying. The man,
it epitomizes the 80s.
the dude had his best friend killed, and he turns it around into ending communism.
Ended communism.
Yeah, point there.
Have you guys seen that like Pretend 30 on 30 about recapping Rocky?
Oh, yes.
Oh, it's
Oh, yeah.
And the journalist, I said to my wife, we're going home. If you guys haven't watched that, you need to.
Oh,
It's very
man.
well.
Good times.
That sweet retro tan jacket. Maybe that was epic.
Maybe the clear sale.
Someone else come.
Braden now back. Braden now back.
Oh, he was here. Like to go.
Well, it's Mitch, not me, that usually asks about
I
it.
know, that's. Mitch's
Sean's the one that can tell you to break it down in detail.
See,
He just doesn't know.
yeah, so Mitch's personnel guy, and then Sean is, oh, that's the injury? Okay, here's what it.
Here's what it is, here's the rehab number, here's what it takes.
The dude knows his athletic training stuff. So what happens when your mom was an athletic trainer your entire life. It's-
Well, he and his family, he told me this, that his family sits there, watches games, and when
Yeah.
people go down, they like
Yeah, it's,
jump in to see who
yeah.
can decide what the injury was, like.
What did that look like to you? Looked like a tibial
Yeah.
plateau fracture. Okay.
I'm usually like, oh, looks like he's out, that's not all I've got.
That's the thing, like Chris Wilcox, I'm like, yeah, he's not putting weight on that leg. I'm guessing he's probably out long term.
How was it getting back?
It was all right. It's okay. A little bummed out. So, I mean, just got to get back to work, right?
With Coach Grimes up in the box, did you notice a difference in the plays getting in, the speed of the plays, or anything at all as far as that change went?
I would say overall the operation didn't change much because, I mean, he was still relaying it through, radio, and that's almost instantaneously. It is a little different not having him there, coaching us up every single time, but, I mean, our position coaches handled that very well.
How has your role evolved or changed with Zach being a quarterback? It seems like they've used it a little bit differently than maybe that you were used at the beginning of the season as far as offensively, or is it the same?
I feel like, my role has been basically very similar to what it has been all year long, but we did do a lot more two-back stuff, split backs and other things like that instead of being under center more. So, I mean, that has been a little bit of a change for, the overall offense, but that was already installed in fall camp. We had already had it in. It's just whether or not they chose to call it during the game.
You've been a special team standout throughout your career here. What goes into that? Is that just the mentality, or is there something unique that you do, in your opinion?
First off, thank you. Appreciate that. And I don't know. I really love special teams, and I think it's another opportunity to go out and have some fun on the football field, and you get to play the other side of the ball. I'm not going to be playing linebacker or something, but running down on kickoff allows you to play defense and help out the defense, which you see like working way hard throughout the game, and you're like, well, I need to give them something back. So, there's a little bit of an extra effort that you're able to do to try and help the other side of the ball when sometimes you feel like you're two separate teams in a way, and special teams is that little special thing that brings you together.
What are your memories of playing UMass last year here in Provo?
That was a real big bummer. I mean, I just remember sitting there on the sideline like, oh my, like what just happened here? Because it was one of those games that was a slower type game, and you felt like, it's going to break open, or it's going to break open, it's going to break open, and, it was one of those lull type things, and you just after the game, you're like, what happened? Like, what's going on? But I'm really excited to play these guys again and, try to help out a little more than I was able to last year.
Does the offense talk much about the red zone? I mean, you guys, one touchdown in the last two games, that's obviously not the ideal. Do you guys address that, or how's that look like?
Yeah, so our two goals coming into this week were, well, not goals as per se, but the things that Grimes had talked to us about was, third down conversions, because those were really low the past game and a half as well, and then red zone converting, because we were so good at it throughout the first part of the year, and then it kind of fell off last week, and then this week it did again. So I'm sure we're going to address it a third time as we come into meetings today in a little bit. But, I mean, just the things that we talked about, obviously we implemented them, we practiced the situations, when we perfected the plays and the calls and the personnels that we wanted in that part of the field, but in the end we just didn't execute.
How big of a challenge? I mean, the field field's so condensed when you get down inside the 20,
Mhm.
it limits some options as far as that goes. But the run pass balance and trying to find, because you guys had pretty good balance the rest of the game. It seemed
Yeah.
like the running game really got stuffed up though inside the 10.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's things that you can't do. You can't throw deep routes or spread out, some of the secondary guys. But overall, I wouldn't say it was a lack of balance, but just a lack of execution that cost us in the red zone.
What is Zach's demeanor in the huddle? Can you kind of take us into what he's like in the huddle, getting ready for a play?
Yeah, I would say he's very full of confidence. He, tries to give us a little inspiration just with like his body presence and his, eye contact with you and whatnot. But I would say overall he just exudes confidence when he comes in to give us the call.
How rare is, for a freshman
Mm-hmm.
to have only started a handful of games, to be able to come in and handle a huddle like that, how rare is that?
I couldn't tell you, I'm sure it's pretty rare. I remember when I was a freshman, I don't know if I could have been able to do that, because that's a pretty tough thing to be able to handle. And, I just think he's handled it very well. He comes in with confidence and he shows us like, hey, I'm here. We're going to get this done. Let's go out and do it.
What was said or what was the demeanor after that last play didn't work?
Heartbreak. There's no other way to put it. The fans in Cougar Nation, they're feeling just the way that we are, but it's just something that you never think would happen after you get the ball back. You go all the way down there, and you're like, oh, it's in the bag. We got this. We have the plays that we need. We've practiced what we need to do, and we're going to get it done. And then being able not to get it done just is kind of like a stab to the back. Like, all your hard work was for nothing.
Any other questions?
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you guys.